So hello friends, today we are going to start or we are going to discuss with the sensors in different application areas. Our focus will be on measuring the different parameters with the help of different types of sensors and how these parameters are used to measure the various physical quantities and how these applications are used in various applications, how these parameters are used for various applications. That will be the main prime focus of this unit that we are going to discuss. So our focus will be on these type of detectors or these type of sensors: occupancy and motion detector, position, displacement and level detector, velocity and acceleration, force, strain and tactile type of sensors, pressure sensors, humidity and moisture sensors, light detectors and temperature sensors. So apart from that, there are many sensors, but our focus will be on these are the prime sensors that are generally used in most of the applications. So our focus will be on these parameters only, or these sensors only. So we'll be starting with occupancy and motion detectors. So first you need to understand what do you mean by occupancy. So occupancy means you want to detect whether any people or any animal is present in the monitored area. Suppose if you are monitoring any room, or in that room if any person is there or if any intruder is there, intruder in a sense any thief is there, so you know to identify it, you know to notice it or observe it with the help of sensors. So for that purpose occupancy sensors are used, and motion sensors are generally used for identifying the moving objects. If the object is stand still, then it will simply you can use a occupancy sensor, and if the object is moving, you will be requiring a moving object. But most of the time the sensors which are used for occupancy and motion, they serve the both purposes. A distinction between the two is that the occupancy sensor produces a signal whenever the object is stationary or not, and whenever the motion detectors are selectively sensitive to the moving objects. As I said earlier, when the object is moving, the motion sensors are sensitive to such type of moving objects, and if any animal or if any object or if any person is present in that observation area or monitored area, then in that case occupancy error will be helpful. Okay. So where these occupancy and motion detectors are generally used, the most of the applications are security purpose, surveillance purpose, energy management, where the energy light controls are required. I have given you the example in last lecture that in a room there is no one is there, so occupancy is not there. That means at that time you need to switch off the fans and lights so you can manage the energy. So this is what the example is. Then man machine interface, where you can use such kind of occupancy detectors. Then personal safety, you can use friendly home appliances, you can use the occupancy and motion detectors. So here the friendly home appliances, we can say a dustbin developed by our students, that is a smart dustbin. Whenever the person comes nearer to that dustbin, it will identify the motion of the person and occupancy, and automatically it will open the lid of that one, and you put your garbage in that, and accordingly it will work. Then interactive toys are also there, which will identify the motions and occupancy. Then there are certain novelty products, and mostly nowadays these occupancy and motion detectors are used in robotics and automotives. So there are so many applications apart from this also, but these are the few that I have listed. So what exactly it does, let us try to understand it. So depending on the application, the presence of the human may be detected through by means of associated with some kind of human body property or body's action. So we know that every body has a temperature, every human being has its own temperature. So its body property, just like a temperature, it can become a one kind of form that is associated with a detection or any kind of action. So your actions that will lead also for detection of your presence. So detector may be sensitive to the body weight, to the heat, to the sound, to the dielectric constant, and so forth. So as I have given you the example of heat, so your body is having certain temperature, so it will produce certain heat. Your body is having a weight, you produce a sound when you walk, you produce a sound when you talk. So that will also be helpful for detecting your presence in the room or your presence in the monitored area. So dielectric constant is also because since body is there, our physical parameters are there, and that is going to change the dielectric constant that you are measuring. So detector's dielectric constant will be changed because of presence also. So the following types of detectors are generally presented for the occupancy and the motion sensing of the people. So you just see there are near about 18 to 20 sensors are there that can be used for measurement of occupancy or for detection of occupancy and motion. So here air pressure sensors are used, capacitive sensors are used, acoustic, photoelectric, optoelectric, pressure mat switches, stress detector, switch sensors, magnetic switches are there, vibration detectors are there, glass breakages are there, infrared motion detectors are there, microwave detectors are there, ultrasonic detectors are there, video motion detectors are there, then video face recognition system is also there, laser system detectors are there, then triboelectric detectors are also there. So you can see there are near about 18 sensors that can be used for measurement of or for the detection of occupancy and motion. Okay, so there is one problem with such kind of detectors is that is a fault positive detection. So whenever there is an occupancy or intrusion, so there is every possibility that you have a false positive detection. What do you mean by false positive? So false positive means a system indicates an intrusion is there even though there is nothing. That means no one has entered, but still you have got the alarm. So that is called as a false positive type of indication. So this is the major limitation of this occupancy and motion detectors. For that purpose, we have systems, we have to go with different types of combinations so that a false positive we can avoid it. So while selecting this sensor for a critical application, we should consider its reliability, because if every time a false positive is there, indication is there, then in that case it will unnecessarily create a coerce for the security system, and that will create unnecessarily problem. So its reliability is very important, selectivity is very important, and noise immunity is also important. So these are the three important parameters we need to consider when we are deciding a sensor for occupancy and motion detector. So the reliability of the system can be improved by multiple sensor arrangement, as I told you. So we can avoid the false triggering by having multiple sensor arrangement with a symmetric interface circuit using the sensors operating on different physical principles. We have seen the different physical principles, electric charge, and if you see the previous applications or the previous sensors, that 18 sensors we have seen, optoelectric, capacitive, air pressure, body weight, stress. So they work on a different principles, and these principles can be implemented to have a multiple sensor arrangement, so that we should not have a false positive. So for example, we can have a capacitive and infrared type of detectors that can be used to have a different kinds of transmitted noise, which are then the first sensor here in our in this lecture, or in this occupancy and motion detectors, we are going to focus on three types of detectors. First one is the ultrasonic detector, second one is the optoelectric detectors, and the third one is the PIR sensors. So our focus will be on ultrasonic, microwave and optoelectronic devices or sensors. So first we will be focusing on ultrasonic detectors and sensors. So transmission and reception of ultrasonic waves. So most of the time it is called as a USW. Ultrasonic waves energy is the basic principle used for ultrasonic range meters and proximity detectors and velocity meters. So ultrasonic detectors are mostly used in many applications for level measurement, for displacement, for proximity detection, for occupancy. So n number of applications are there for ultrasonic detectors, but how the ultrasonic detectors and sensors are used for occupancy and motion, that we are going to see it. So ultrasonic waves are mechanical acoustic waves that are covering the frequency range well beyond the capability of human ears. That means we can hear the frequency up to 20 kilohertz very easily. It is said that 20 to 20 kilohertz is the audio frequency that we can hear, the human being can hear. But beyond 20 kilohertz we cannot hear, or below 20 hertz we cannot hear. So we need to that ultrasonic waves are beyond 20 kilohertz. So we are not able to listen it, but we can observe it on the various devices also. So these are the frequencies which are generally perceptive by the small animals like dogs, cats, rodents, then insects. Generally you might be knowing that bats and dolphins are very sensitive to such kind of frequencies. So generally cats, rodents is just like a mouse. So these the family of mouse. So these are the animals which are receptive to such kind of frequencies, and these USW signals are incident on an object, and the part of the energy gets absorbed and other part gets reflected in a diffused manner, and this diffused energy is again collected back by the sensor and it is produced. So what happens when, regardless of direction these waves came from, they are reflected almost in uniformly in wide solid angle that may be 180 degree approach it may have. That means whenever whether the signal is coming from a right angle, whether it is coming from a particular angle, so irrespective of that, the diffused manner energy, it may be uniformly distributed in 180 degree. This is what the ultrasonic sensors are working on. That's why we are able to identify the signals, and we can able to identify the intruders or occupancy, or we can easily identify the presence of someone nearer to the object or sensor. So if the object moves, the frequency of the reflected wavelength will differ from transmitted wave. Okay, so if the object is moving, then whatever may be the reflected wavelength is there, that is different from the transmitted wavelength, and this effect is known as Doppler effect, and the same effects are generally used in most of the effects in most of the applications. In biomedical applications, the Doppler effect is utilized. So transmitted wave is different and received wave is different. So the frequency of transmission and received waves are different, and this effect is known as Doppler effect, and this effect is utilized. Here you can see that here this is the transmitter and this is the receiver. So if the transmitter and receiver, if it is the same one, we will call it as a trans receiver. But let us consider that transmitter is different one and receiver is different one. So transmitter is transmitting at an angle, let us consider that this is the plane, and with an angle theta it is transmitting the wave towards the object, and object will transmit or reflect the wave, and it will be received at receiver. So the distance L0 will be calculated by this formula, where v is the velocity or v is the speed of that sound that you are transmitting, and t is the time required for reach the receiver. Theta is the angle between the plane and this transmitted wave, divided by 2, that will give you the distance that the object is away from the receiver. So you can easily calculate the distance by this way, Vt cos theta divided by 2. So this is the t is the time for taken by the ultrasonic wave to travel to the object and back to the receiver. So this is the total time from transmitter to receiver through object. So this is the ultrasonic. So if the transmitter and receiver are positioned close to each other as compared, then cos theta will almost becomes zero. Cos theta is almost nearly equal to 1. So you can get L is equal to Vt by 2 only. Vt by 2 only. So it depends upon the time required for traveling and the velocity of the signal. So USW have an obvious advantage over the microwaves. So we are going to see the microwaves. So they propagate with a speed of sound which is much slower than the speed of light at what the microwaves propagate. So microwaves are propagating at the speed of light, whereas the ultrasonic are propagating at a speed of sound. Thus the time t is much longer and its measurement can be accomplished easier and cheaper. So the sound that is propagated is much slower than microwaves, and the time taken is the longer, and the measurement is accomplished very easily, and it is cheaper than the microwave. So this is the advantage of USW over the microwave. So there are mainly two types of ultrasonic transducers that are used for operation in air, that is a piezoelectric and electrostatic. So electrostatic transducers have a high sensitivity and a bandwidth, but require high voltage for polarization and operation. So most of the time piezoelectric transducers are utilized for generating the ultrasonic waves. So most common type of excitation device that can generate the surface movement in an ultrasonic range is piezoelectric transducer operating in the so-called motor mode. So the piezoelectric device that converts the electrical energy into mechanical energy. So we know that whenever you are applying a signal or whenever you are applying a voltage to the piezoelectric material, it vibrates, and whenever it vibrates, it generates a mechanical energy in the form of sound. And these sound waves are propagated. So electric transducers require a low excitation voltage as much as 10 to 20 volts. So the excitation stages are simpler and at lower cost. We can achieve the lower cost and simple type of sensors with the help of piezoelectric devices. So here it is, the example is given. So you can see that. So we know that piezoelectric works on a reverse principle also. If you apply the vibration, it will generate a voltage, and if you apply voltage, it will generate a vibration. So that is the principle that used for piezoelectric. So here in first diagram, here it is, what we have done, we have applied the voltage, input voltage, and we can see that the diaphragm, metallic diaphragm, which is made up of a piezoelectric material, that gets vibrated, or that will change its shape, and that vibration will create its sound waves. So these ultrasonic waves are created accordingly. So these deformations in this a piezoelectric material will create the ultrasonic waves, and at receiving end exactly the reverse will happen. The ultrasonic waves will reflected back, and these will be received by the ultrasonic sensor, and it will generate the output voltage. So it serves the purpose of both, for generating the signal as well as for generating the sound wave also. That means the electrical signal is converted into a mechanical energy, that is a sound wave, and the sound wave, that is a mechanical energy, is converted into electrical signal. So the ultrasonic sensor will serve the both purposes. So here it is the exact construction, how exactly the transmitter as well as the receiver is working on. So here you can see that this is the diaphragm, here it is the radical cone, so that you can have a proper direction of your sound waves. Here it is the lead wires, and here these lead wires are connected to these diaphragms. So whenever there is a voltage is applied over here, this diaphragm gets vibrated, and this radical cone will generate waves that will pass through this signal. Now the input, as I told you, the working principle of that ultrasonic sensor. So since the piezoelectricity is a reversible phenomena, the ceramic plates generates the voltage whenever the incoming ultrasonic waves makes it to flex. So most of the time transmitter as well as the receiver, they are put on a single chip, or they are put on very close to each other, and I will show you the diagram also so that you can understand that. So the typical frequency that is generated by the piezoelectric type of ultrasonic transducer is 32 kilohertz. So here it is the most popular ultrasonic transducer as well as receiver, transmitter as well as receiver, that is known as SRC4. So SRC4, now you are familiar with such kind of devices which are generally used to interface with Arduinos or your microcontrollers or any other applications that you are developing. So mostly this is the module generally available for the rupees of hardly 70 rupees. Depending on the range and depending on that, the cost is going to increase also. So for 50 rupees also it is available on the net, but the average cost is 70 rupees. So this ultrasonic sensor is available for 70 rupees. So such kind of sensors are available in the market, and this is a trans receiver type of sensor where it will act as a transmitter as well as a receiver. And this will show the diagram, and this will show you the lobe, the direction in which the propagation has taken place or the maximum energy has been propagated. So the directional sensitivity that we have shown with the help of the lobe diagram. So that will be decided. It is very important. The narrower is the diagram, more sensitive is the transducer. So if I'll go to the previous one, I'll show it. If this will become more narrower, let us draw it more narrower. So if it becomes more narrower like this, then this lobe will become more narrower, then such sensor is much more sensitive as compared to the previous sensor. So narrower the lobe is, more sensitive the transducer is. There are two possible modes of operating the USW transducer. It is used in pulse mode as well as it is used in continuous mode. When the measurement circuit operates in a pulse mode and the piezoelectric crystal is reversible in nature, in most of the designs the same transducer is used for both transmission as well as the reception of ultrasonic signal. This is US means not it is in United States, it is a ultrasonic signal. Then it is called as a pulse mode, and if it is in continuous mode, so most of the time a transmitter is different and receiver is different. Okay, so the time delay you can measure it with the pulse type of USW detector that can be measured with the high resolution. So whenever you want to measure the distance, you should go for a pulse type of detector, and if it is in continuous mode, there is a separate piezoelectric material or piezoelectric element which is employed for a transmitter and receiver. The diagram I have shown you of that the receiver, the first diagram, it consists two circular forms of transducers. First one is that is related with the transmitter and the receiver, and the second was what, a trans receiver. So the first one was the example of continuous transmission, and the second one was the example of pulse transmission. So the diagram shows the simplified circuit of continuous USB detector. So this is how you can connect your circuit or these transceivers directly to your microcontroller. So the unit that I have shown the previously, with the 4 connections, that you can directly connect it to the microcontroller. But if you want to connect it with the help of microcontroller, the pulse output is given to the this transistor. These transistors will be on and off. It will operate at 32 kilohertz, and that will make this transmitter to generate the frequency of 32 kilohertz, and at receiving end it will generate a signal, or it will generate a voltage which is equivalent to the received signal, and that is given to this PNP transistor. So this NPN transistor, it will act as an amplifier, and this amplifier will be given to the buffer, and this buffer will again give it to the rectifier, and it will again give to the microcontroller, and microcontroller will identify the required time and the of the transmission and the received. So that time will be calculated, and you can easily identify how the object is, whether the object is present or not, whether the object is nearer or whether the object is far away. So that can be easily calculated depending on the time received. So this time is calculated, and the microcontroller will take the decision accordingly. So this is what the simplest diagram that can be shown how ultrasonic separately a transmitter can be connected and a separate receiver can be connected. But whatever may be the module that I have shown to you, that is directly connected to the microcontroller. So through your practicals you will come to know that how to connect such kind of boards or such kind of sensors modules directly to your Arduino boards or directly to your controller boards. So the transmitting transducers, it is giving you the energy in a continuous stream of USW, that is nothing but ultrasonic wave, towards the object, and at receiving end you will be turning on and off the, actually the working here is explained over here. So when the energy is received, it is amplified, filtered and the rectified signal is digitized by the microcontroller and compared with the threshold, and if the stronger the amplitude, the closer is the objective. If it exceeds the threshold, it indicates that the critical proximity is there. So such kind of application is again developed by our students as well as faculty members for detecting the close proximity, which is used in this COVID pandemic situation for a continuous monitoring, and only magnitude of the received ultrasonic waves, thus we can measure the accurate distance. We can only measure the presence, but we cannot measure the accurate distance because of this continuous device monitoring system. So example of this application includes the robotics and door openers, so where the accuracy is not required. In robotics, so toys where the accuracy is not required, in such cases such kind of ultrasonic detectors are utilized.